If you read through this page, you'll see a way of creating your major scales by starting with a series of whole steps and half steps. And then starting on any note, you can create a major scale using those series of whole steps and half steps. But let's look at it from a different vantage point. With a scale you are hopefully already familiar with, the C major scale. Now, what's really nice about the C major scale is there are no sharps or flats. It is just the letters. So let's analyze the whole steps and half steps that appear in the C major scale. We know from our whole step and half step lecture that between C and D there is a note, a C sharp or a D flat, that enharmonic pitch. So we know between C and D there is a whole step. Between D and E we know there's a D sharp or an E flat pitch in between those, so we know this is a whole step. Between E and F we know there isn't a note between those two, so that is a half step. Between F and G, there is a note, so that is a whole step. Between G and A, there is a note, a G sharp or an A flat, and we know that's a whole step. Between A and B, there is a whole step, and between B and C, there isn't a note between B and C, so we know that is a half step. So those are the series of whole steps and half steps that create a major scale. And we can use those series of whole steps and half steps to create any other major scale starting on any other note. Here, let us use a bass clef. And this time, let's start on the note B flat. Another common scale hopefully you are familiar with. So what's nice about major scales is we know we're going to have some kind of B, some kind of C, some kind of D, some kind of E, F, G, A, and B. What's kind of nice is, for instance, when you're doing a bubble test and you've run out of time, so you just write C, 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 C all the way down. It's actually somewhat the equivalent with major scales. Whatever note you start on, you are going to have a line and a space all the way up to the next octave. Now from here, though, you really do need to figure out any sharps or flats that might appear. So B flat, up a whole step. So we need to have a chromatic pitch in between those, and it's B natural. So B flat to C is already a whole step. C to D, just like that C to D up here, is a whole step. Now, here is where we need a half step. And between D and E is a whole step. So this needs to be D to E flat. And then E flat F, we need another whole step. So that's correct. And then another whole step. F to G is a whole step. We need another whole step, G to A. And then we need a half step, which is a good thing because this is the B flat major scale. So we expect to stop on B flat. And that's a half step. So this B flat major scale has two flats, B flat and E flat. So create all of your major scales, practice all of your major scales. This is going to be something that you will need to do in your primary applied lessons anyway. So it's best to practice them now because we will build a tremendous amount of information on those major scales.